So that's why we're both remote and wearing silly hats and perhaps sounding a little bit hoarse. But despite that, we're still doing a podcast. So fair play to us, and especially to Elena for accommodating these exceptional circumstances. Hello and welcome to the final Telecoms.com podcast of the year. As you can see, we're not in the office, and that's because the trains keep going on strike. We just managed to make it in yesterday, and everyone's got a bug as well. Actually, I don't think Elena does. Well,
no, I do.
Okay.
I'll join them coughing. Yeah.
Well, I might as well properly introduce Elena now. She's been on the pod before in person, and we're hoping to have her on the pod in person today. But because of the strikes, she's kindly been accommodating, and we're doing it on Zoom instead. So this feels very 2020, this pod. Because we had, Ian? We had like about 3 months or so of having to do it like this, didn't we?
We did. I remember Jamie wandering around his kitchen with his laptop in his hand.
Yeah, he'd like clear off and go and vape outside or something.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's that. I think we've all got bugs as well. It has been freezing, literally freezing all week. I think one of the things that might contribute to my bug is trying to get in yesterday. We came in and we did Secret Santa and all just had our last drink together for the year. But I had to wait around on the platform for about an hour because even though yesterday was the only non-strike day of the week, obviously they were dragging their asses big time.
Going back?
You what?
Going back home or coming?
No, going back home wasn't too bad. It was a slower train, but it arrived in good time. But I had to wait around for about an hour on the way out, which was boring. Yeah. Has probably contributed to my cold. So there, but enough moaning. And I didn't know. I mean, Elena surprised me with these wacky hat/festive shades or whatever she's wearing. Yeah. And so then Ian went and retrieved a hat that he got last night off one of our colleagues when we're doing our Secret Santa. And so I went off in a panic to try and find a hat, and I don't have a festive hat. So this is my daughter's bobble hat.
You look lovely in it.
For which she'll probably deeply resent me wearing it. But there we go. And it's her birthday. She's 16 tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. So that's why we're both remote and wearing silly hats and perhaps sounding a little bit hoarse. But despite that, we're still doing a podcast. So fair play to us, and especially to Elena for accommodating these exceptional circumstances. So and we're having a beer. I've got a gluten-free punk IPA here.
Got Star of Ramen.
Yeah, we could have, if we'd had it in the office, Elena could have polished off those diet G&Ts that we've had in our possession since we did a pod with her about 2 years ago.
So disappointed. It's taken a year and you still haven't polished them off.
No, well, times have never got that tough, Elena. That's very much emergency booze, I'm afraid.
Let's see whether the economic crisis in 2023.
It could be, yeah. That'll be it. You know, you have other people who say they can't afford to heat their house, and I'll be going, yeah, and I had to have a diet G&T. And that really get the violin out for me. Yeah. And our cunning plan, well, actually Elena's cunning plan, when we planned this pod, I think months ago, she went, why don't I do a quiz? Because it's our last pod of the year. Why don't I do a quiz on presumably telecoms trivia? If that's not a contradiction in terms, because of course telecoms are fucking serious business. And I went, yeah, great idea. So I've got no idea. I haven't collaborated with Elena on this. I haven't really spoken to her prior to just now, other than to confirm that we're all going to be on this Zoom call. But yeah, that's how we're going to do it. We're not going to go over the news of the week, which is just as well, as there hasn't been much. And Ian, you've been off anyway, haven't you?
Yeah.
Kind of. So you'd be especially useless at that. And it's a bit unfair on Ian because Elena, I think, has derived the questions from Telecoms.com stories. So they might not necessarily be things that Ian covered, but such as his encyclopedic knowledge of telecoms that I'd expect nothing to have slipped through the cracks for him. So that's it. And just
0 points now.
Yeah. We don't even know what the competitive dynamic is. I think Elena's going to offer the question to one of us. Yeah. If that person fucks it up, then the other person gets a chance to answer it and steal their points. So there, we're getting a little bit of competitive tension into the whole thing. And just to remind people, if they haven't encountered Elena before, she is CEO, chief exec. What's your job title?
Yeah, that's it.
One of those.
Look,
she runs a PR agency called Liberty, which is very closely aligned to the telecom sector. And we've certainly, since I've been doing this job, we've known each other, and possibly before.
We did.
So thanks again, and you're just good company and a friend of the pod. So it's great to have you here. And you've always said you're a fan of the pod. Do you still listen to it regularly?
I do. I listened to the one with Phil Civita.
Of course, yeah. Well, they're Nokia's one of your clients, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you're listening, I thought you did very well.
By the way, Pierre, you when you put that one up on LinkedIn, you called him Paul Civita. Oh, yeah. So Pierre's just put that. Yeah, that was a typo, but it's now corrected. Don't worry, mate. There's at least one of us is professional. So yeah, that's it really. Not much else to report, other than it was just great to see all our colleagues. If any of them listen to this, it's great to see you all last night. We had a few beers, cheeky Nando's at the end. And I'm off from next week. When are you starting your holiday, Elena?
Not until the 23rd.
Right, so, you're right to the wire. Yeah, and my colleague Andrews is filling in for me there. I've got a little frog in my throat, so I'm gonna have a beer.
Yeah.
Right. So I think then what we'll do, without further ado and wittering from me, that looks like water, Elena.
Well, it is because I'm poorly.
No, don't worry. I'm not about to peer pressure you.
I think I'm going to need a lot of water breaks to get through this much speaking.
Right. Yes. Well, indeed. Well, if you happen to chuck a bit of gin in there, so much the better. So I think what we'll do then, Elena, if it's all right with you, I'll just sort of hand over and let you be the boss.
Yeah.
And we're just here to show our utter ignorance of what pays our bills.
Well, should we give Ian the advantage and give him the first question?
That's absolutely fine.
Is it an easy one? Is it an easy one to start off?
Well, let's find out, innit?
I don't know. It is quite hard, actually. I think you'll get this. Actually, I'm going to start with Scott because I think the second question is a bit easier.
See, you need special help already, and you haven't even started.
Okay, so first question, and it's not in date order, so it's just
right. This isn't like starting January 2020, 22 or whatever.
No. We've added a bit of challenge, so it's from any point throughout the year, and all the questions have come from stories that are on Telecoms.com. So if people, as they're listening or watching at home, want to play along, then you can test your own Telecoms.com knowledge.
There we go. Aren't we sort of diversifying into light entertainment?
Well, we are. Oh, do you need to say your thing about you can access this from?
Oh, that's a good point, which I always forget to do. But yes, thank you, Elena, showing that you're more professional than I am. And just to remind you that if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or the website, you can also listen to it on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and loads of other platforms. And also, don't hold your breath for another pod. I imagine our first one might be at the very earliest recorded on the 6th of January, 2023. So you're just going to have to cope during the festive period without us banging on about telecoms for a bit.
What will we do for dog walks and various other things?
Indeed. They'll just be meaningless.
Okay, so starting off. So first question to you, Scott. Microsoft sends what it calls nation-state notifications, NSNs, to clients when they have been targeted or compromised by government-backed hackers. Since starting this in 2018, Microsoft has delivered how many NSNs?
You've got to be joking.
No.
Are they going to be this specific?
I'll give you some options, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, A, 150,000. B, 1 million, or C, 67,000?
I'll go for the middle one, 150,000.
No.
Go on, Ian. You got a 1 in 2 chance to steal the points.
A.
No, it was
Oh.
C. 67,000.
What is? I can't remember what these reports are. What does the story say? It's letting people know that some weird shit's been going on.
Someone tried to hack them.
Yeah, I'll send it in the chat as the story. It was from the 15th of November of this year, obviously, and
Right.
Nick Wood wrote it.
Well, well done, Nick.
Telcos sound the alarm over 5G SA security threats.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we both failed on the first question.
It was a hard one, though.
Can only get better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ian, breaking into a market long dominated by China's three main mobile operators, what is the name of China's fourth and newest mobile operator?
Is it China Broadcast Network or something?
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's China Broadnet.
Right.
Yeah. I think the Broad's probably the abbreviation of broadcast anyway. Yeah. I'm not going to quibble over that one.
Well done.
Excellent.
Okay. In an August survey conducted by MVNO Leica Mobile, this is to you, Scott, what percentage of customers using the big four mobile network operators reconsidered switching contracts due to the economic climate?
Can you say it again?
Yeah. In an August survey conducted by MVNO Leica Mobile, what percentage of customers using the big four mobile network operators reconsidered switching contracts due to the economic climate? Do you want me to give you some options?
Yeah, especially as I was on holiday for most of August.
Oh, right. Okay. So A, 65%.
Yeah.
B, 43%. Or C, 24%.
So I'm going to guess that this is one of those self-interested bits of research by an MVNO, which obviously wants to paint the picture of lots of people thinking of leaving. So I'm going to go for one of the higher ones. And they just say considered. So it could be one of those questions they ask that's got a very sweeping. So I'm going to go for the highest percentage. What was that? 2/3, 67%?
Yeah, 65%.
65%.
You would be correct.
Aha. Hey. Do you think my rationale was fairly plausible as a comms person, Elaine?
Well, I do, and I think as journalists, it's always good to be a bit cautious about surveys, stats.
Indeed.
Well done. Okay, Ian, over to you. There were 4.6 billion plastic SIM cards produced in 2020. Which telecoms trailblazer is offering chip manufacturers and device makers free eSIM technology in an attempt to create a SIM-free world?
Ooh.
Apple.
Is that your final answer?
Say the question again.
There were 4.6 billion plastic SIM cards produced in 2020. Which telecoms trailblazer is offering chip manufacturers and device makers free eSIM technology in an attempt to create a SIM-free world?
It says offering device makers, and it is a device maker, so it wouldn't be offering other device maker stuff, would it? Google?
No.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, there's the companies that are involved with doing the actual SIM stuff. Although I've got to admit, a lot of their names,
those are.
Yeah, a lot of their names escape me. And it could be just like a secure. But then I don't know. Maybe I'll go with a chip company. I'll go with Qualcomm. How about that?
No, it was TruePhone.
Ah.
Oh yeah, I remember them. Isn't that the one that Abramovich used to own a bit of?
Yeah, they ended up getting in some when everyone was like banning Russians from going to Wimbledon and stuff.
Yeah, it turned out he owned most of it.
It definitely got a little bit awkward with them regarding their ownership. I think I don't want to speak too far out of turn because I can't remember. But I met TruePhone at Mobile World Congress. And yeah, eSIM, had I remembered that, eSIM is a big thing for them. And that was, it's funny meeting them then. I think the Ukraine thing had only just kicked off, and we hadn't had that domino effect of ban everything Russian straight after. And that was a funny thing to reflect on. Do you see a complete tangent, Ian? But I know you like tennis. Did you see that the LTA got put properly in the naughty step for banning all the Russians from Wimbledon?
I saw that. Yeah.
And they had quite a stroppy response going, well, we just care about Ukraine or something like that. And it's like, yeah, everyone does. They're just not as indiscriminate as you.
They should probably have seen it coming, because they got all the points got docked as well, that players were from competing at Wimbledon. So they must have known that they were, they were on the naughty step.
It was just odd to act so unilaterally as well. You'd think that the reason things like the ATP or whatever exist is so that the whole of the tennis ecosystem can speak with a common voice. But Wimbledon just went, no, we're Wimbledon, man. We'll do what we want.
Well, I think all the slams are sort of separate from the ATP, but the other three, the other three sort of to the ATP side, and Wimbledon didn't.
Right. Okay. All right. That's got nothing to do with telecoms, obviously. So we both got that one wrong. That was True Phone. What's the score? Is it like
1-1?
1-1.
Yeah, 1-1.
Whose turn is it? That was Ian. So it's my turn, is it?
Yeah. So Nokia and robot manufacturer Mobile Industrial Robots put on what kind of parade at the Stuttgart-based logistics event Logimart?
God.
I'll give it to him. It's pretty obvious when you think of stunts. I
think of stunts.
Yeah. Think of a stunt with a kind of robots.
Right.
What do you do?
So, and what was the question again? Sorry.
So Nokia.
Yeah.
The robot manufacturer Mobile Industrial Robots put on what kind of parade at the Stuttgart-based logistics event?
What kind of parade? I don't know, a military parade.
Yep, similar. Yeah. Robot fleet parade, so I'll give you that. Right.
So what, they had these robots just sort of moving around in concert?
As a fleet.
As a fleet. Have you ever seen, Elena, any of those, I think they call them Boston Dynamics or something like that, where they've got these like dog robots that police are using. It's total Black Mirror stuff. Have you ever seen any of those?
No, I haven't. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, I think I'll look at it after. I think they're called Boston. It's Boston something or other. I think it might be Boston Dynamics. And yeah, it's just totally dystopian. It's totally Terminator, which is something I reference quite frequently on this pod. But the robots are starting to get pretty hardcore.
Well,
I got some video footage of one in a story, actually, because I had one of them at the BT's Industrial Park facility.
Right.
When I went up there recently. So I remember filming it. But yeah, I'll send you the link.
We've got the technology for you to share it in real time, have we?
Probably not.
You can share your screen, but then we'd see whatever weird stuff you're up to on your computer.
In that link, anyway, if you scroll down a little bit to below the top paragraphs, you can have a look at it later.
Okay, that's great for our audience. Thanks, Ian.
No, it's for Elena's benefit. It's not the audience. They can.
It's not the audience. Spoken like a true journalist.
They can sort themselves out.
Well, I'll do a little shout out if I can. A little shameless plug for one of our clients, which is a company called Starship Technologies, and they have delivery robots that are huge in the US, and they work with campus universities to deliver goods across campus universities in the US. And in the UK, they're working with retailers like Co-op to do last mile delivery. So you can order your groceries, especially if you're kind of housebound or whatever, you can order your groceries to be delivered by robot. And they're so cute. They're these little kind of white robots. You might have seen them. We've had a lot of press.
They're the ones that get to talk to old people in retirement homes, because real people don't want to talk to them anymore.
When they're special robots for talking to old people.
The old people are talking to robots. When they're not doing that, they're doing grocery deliveries.
They're very sweet though, and you see that there's lots of footage of them, cross sort of waiting to cross roads and that kind of thing. They're very sweet. And I think quite a lot of robot manufacturers have been accused of being a little bit creepy. but these ones have been really cleverly designed to be sort of very friendly looking, and they've been very well received by people.
I don't doubt that they're as cute as you say, but I would just say, perhaps not with these robots, but they're cute until they become self-aware and turn on their owners.
Yeah, these Boston Dynamics ones aren't cute. They're
they're sinister.
Yeah. Well, I am sure that Mobile World Congress will have its fair share of robot.
There's going to be more. We're going to be tripping over them.
Yeah, they always do, don't they?
Cool.
Anyway,
all right. So I sort of got that one right with a bit of help from you.
Yeah. Next one for Ian. Which UK MNO worked with the charity Refugee Council to help Ukrainian refugees seeking asylum? This company donated 3,000 connected smartphones, 1,000 portable chargers, and offered free connectivity to 200,000 refugees arriving from Ukraine. So it's
even
a UK
foreshadowing.
So UK MVNO.
No,
MNO.
not MNO. MNO. UK MNO. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll give you his. Yes, well done.
Yes.
Was that a total 1 in 4 guess, Ian?
It was, yeah.
Well,
they're quite into their sort of right on sort of gestures, aren't they? So no, it's obviously very worthwhile as well, but they like to shout about it, Vodafone, don't they, and draw attention to the fact they've done it. So yeah.
Well, that's always my thing, and I'll put the same caveat as you. Any act of philanthropy can be taken at face value, and I'm quite happy to. But whenever a company, be it Vodafone or anyone else, does something philanthropic and then turns it into a press release, this is an interesting thing to have a PR professional. I understand why. Like there's there's an ad campaign that I think McCain, the frozen food people, are doing. There's some quite touching ads, some kids with special needs and all that sort of thing, and it definitely resonates with me as the actual owner of this hat has autism. But when they turn it into an ad campaign, it just leaves a slight bitter taste in my mouth. But maybe I should just give them that. I'll just let them have it. And
it's like that. There's a Kate Winslet thing that happened. I think she gave like 20 grand to a family they've got some daughter who's quite ill, and she'd seen that they were struggling with bills as well this Christmas, and made a donation and like paid off some massive debt they had, which is a really nice thing to do. But there was and it probably wasn't her putting a press release out so much, but there was so much coverage of it that you thought after a while, was this done to sort of gee up some publicity for Kate Winslet ahead of some movie that's coming out, or was it,
What do you think, Elena? What do you think, PR professional?
I thought the same. I mean, do you remember Prince William when there was all the coverage, wasn't there, of him dressing up as a big issue salesman, and he was selling big issues. Do you remember that? And you did sort of slightly think, oh, he's not, he's obviously leaked this to the press.
Well, actually, a complete tangent on that royal stuff. So, we've had this Netflix thing come out recently.
Yes,
with, Harry and Meghan, yeah, which I haven't watched. I'm quite indifferent about them, other than finding them quite sort of superficial and narcissistic. But, there's plenty of superficial narcissists in the world.
Yeah.
But when I end up sort of listening to podcasts where they talk about it or reading about it in The Spectator or something, there does sometimes seem to be this public face-off between the two brothers and their entourages. So when one of them does something, another one's seen, chucking a tenner at a tramp or something. And I don't. It's all very grubby. I mean, I don't envy any of them. Obviously, being born into that degree of public scrutiny, I think they are deserving of more sympathy than they get. Obviously, they don't get much sympathy because they're also born into tons of cash. But I wouldn't swap places with any of them. Yeah. And especially if you then have to just go around arranging little philanthropic stunts to try and outdo each other, it's all quite unseemly as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I have watched the first 3. Is it the first 3? And then the last few came out yesterday, I think. Is that right? And I have watched the first 3. And you know what? To me, it just, I don't know, screams of these two very kind of troubled people, actually, Harry and Meghan, who have both got a catalogue of kind of broken relationships and, sort of misfortune in their life. And there's a lot that hasn't been unpicked properly to be honest. There, Harry's still hurt over the death of his mother so young.
Yeah. And there's those weird scenes when he's a little kid of him having to go to a public funeral. Yeah, that's gonna do someone's head in.
Oh, totally.
But then, I mean, do you find it uncomfortable viewing, just seeing them sort of bare their souls in this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess public sympathy is waning, I think, a little bit for them, isn't it? I mean, I think
a bit fatigue.
Yeah, and I think in the current climate where, you've got people who are genuinely having to decide whether to heat their home or eat, and you've got them coming out and saying how sorry their life is, even though they live on a multi-acre farm, and they're never going to have to worry about money, and they're never going to have to worry about heating, and they're never going to have to worry about food. Some of it, you just think, oh, I don't know how this is going to sit with the public, especially at this time.
Yeah.
And off the back of the Queen's death as well this year and everything else. But, the whole topic of the monarchy and whether it's relevant still and how they modernise, over the next few years, I think that's a really interesting topic and one that I think will play out.
And there's definitely a big comms element to it. So I'm sure you have some professional interest in their shenanigans.
Yeah, obviously very different to technology PR, but fascinating.
Yeah. What do you do if you suddenly got a phone call and they're going, "Can you do our PR?"
No, I wouldn't want to.
No, you wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. By the way, before we move on, so Pierre, producer Pierre, who normally has a microphone when we're in the studio, is discreetly restricting himself to just sending messages in the chat. But he put another little thing, an example of opportunistic sort of publicity. He refers to Snoop Dogg getting arrested with weed before an album release. So I think, none of us are in that space, Elena, but if I'm sure you can imagine just suddenly being in the fashion or the showbiz or some much more public facing thing than telecoms and having to arrange some of these weird stunts. It does make me sometimes get very tinfoil hat and assume that nothing ever happens by accident. I think one of my biggest ones that I've moaned about is Marcus Rashford, who made a perfectly worthy point about how some kids don't get who are entitled to free school meals, don't get them at certain times, and that's out of order, and they should. But then straight after that, he was doing Benetton ads and all sorts of stuff, and I just thought, yeah, there's something going on here. Anyway, big tangent there.
Well, I really love Marcus Rashford. I think he's a bit of a hero, actually.
You won't hear a word said against him.
No,
you don't think there's anything. I mean, I don't doubt his sincerity, by the way, but you don't think that his managing agency, I think it's like Jay-Z's management agency who kind of specialize in this kind of thing. You don't think that one day he just went, "Oh man, it's so out of order, they ain't got no school dinners," and that his agent went, "Oh, I think we can work with that." You don't think that happened?
Well, the publicity that he's done an enormous amount of good. And if the Benetton adverts then, raise awareness. I think it's a really good thing. I think he's got a really positive cause and I think he's done a lot of good.
Fair enough. Well, I maintain I think both can be true.
Didn't score enough goals though, did he?
You what?
Oh, but he sat up a lot, didn't he? Didn't he do quite a lot of assists?
No, he had a good World Cup. The funny thing is,
very long actually, was he? In fairness, he wasn't.
He scored some great goals. The funny thing is, when he was getting, and I'll stress, by the way, to answer your point, Elena, I think the fact that some people will seek to publicise their philanthropy doesn't negate the philanthropy. The philanthropy is still valid in and of itself. I just reserve the right to say, well, they got a pretty handy.
It's better than not doing it. It's better than not doing it at all.
Yes, exactly. But another point about Rashford is when he was getting all these ad campaigns, he was shit. He wasn't even getting picked for Man U. And so that's why I was smelling a rat. He's actually quite good. He's been one of our better players in this World Cup. So it's funny how it goes. And he might have got those ad campaigns anyway.
I don't think he would have been picked for England though. Just on his ad campaigns, or his...
No, I don't. It would be funny if they picked him just to bring on dinners or something like that. Anyway.
Bring on the halftime oranges.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You have a whole thing about how there's not enough football players who get halftime oranges. Anyway, big tangent there. We haven't got forever, so I'd better let you crack on.
Shall I go for the next one? Okay. I think this one's hard. But anyway.
Who's it for? Is it for Ian? No, he just got the philanthropy one that led to the tangent. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's your turn, Scott. So which country is using more than 750 Vantage towers to generate wind power at their mobile sites? The towers are run by Vodafone, if that helps.
Yeah, I know who Vantage is. Thank you very much. About the only thing that you've brought up that I do know so far. So which country? I'm going to go Germany, because I think Vantage is there and they're quite into green stuff in Germany.
Oh, you've done it.
Yes. Go on. Would you have guessed that, Ian?
Yeah, I would have said Germany as well.
Okay.
It's quite fun when I nod. This bobble goes all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Shall I get mine makes a ding, ding, ding sound.
I think I've got a bobble. I should have there. I think
you have. Yeah, you got some bobble there, but you got a sort of elf hat, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, there it is. It's an elf hat, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very twisty, isn't it?
It's quite twisty. I think my head's too big for it, to be honest with you. It's designed for Becky's size head, which is considerably smaller than mine, obviously.
Well, are you feeling the constraint a bit?
Yeah. Going to take it off and there's going to be a rush of blood to my head after this podcast.
Tell you what, though, it's a good way of keeping warm, having these hats on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might just nick this off my daughter.
You can work in it time.
Another thing I've started doing, I'm not that cold today. I've started wearing like fingerless gloves when I'm at my desk here. It's quite Dickensian in this weather.
Yeah, it is. It's so cold. It's going to get warm next week, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be like 10 degrees or something on Monday.
Yeah. And rain.
Hard to imagine. Yeah.
So out of interest, what do you prefer? Rain and milder weather, or cold but sun like it is today?
Oh, I like a proper winter. When it's sunny and there's snow, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it's raining, I prefer the cold. When it's cold, I prefer the rain and the mild.
Yeah.
So I was saying,
as a runner, though, Ian, what would you prefer to run in?
That's a good question. I hate running in the rain, to be honest with you. I don't mind if it starts raining when I'm running, but if it's pouring down and you're about to go out, I don't. That sometimes puts me off. I think I'll do it tonight instead or whatever. It's a cold. I generally go out in the cold because once you start running, you don't.
You're fine.
I haven't done any running.
What about you, Elena? You like a run? Will you run in all conditions?
Driving rain, no. Cold, yes, I will. I actually quite like it. It's quite refreshing. You need to make sure your top tip. You need to make sure your hands are warm. So put gloves on.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, you would do warm up. Certainly if you're as unfit as I am, you warm up pretty damn quickly. So yeah. Cool.
Okay. All right. Next one. So this is Ian's question.
Do we have a score? You give me a score.
I am. You're 3-2 to Scott.
Right. Okay. No pressure, Ian.
In an attempt to rein in the perceived power of digital gatekeepers like Google and Facebook, the EU designed and finalised which regulatory exercise this year?
Ooh. It's not GDPR, is it? That's different. Say the question again.
In an attempt to rein in the perceived power of digital gatekeepers like Google and Facebook, the EU designed and finalised which regulatory exercise this year? I'll give you a clue. It starts with digital. It's 3 words.
Digital. It's not going to be digital dominance, is it?
That's something else, Ian.
Don't know.
Do you want to steal it, Scott?
I'm going to go for Digital Markets Act.
Oh, yeah. Well done.
There we go. And there was another one. There's another really similar one called Digital Fucking About Act or something like that. But there we are. I stole it. 4-2. Go on.
Go on. Okay. I think this one is only fair that Scott answers because it was from this week. and Ian's So, what was the name of the Ofcom report which was announced this week?
Oh, was it like it's like a sort of the state of broadband, something like that. I can't remember the precise name of it, but the broadband, broadband nation, digital nation, broadband, something like that. I don't know precisely. I'm going to go broadband nation report.
Okay, no. Ian?
Broadbandits.
That should have been the name, but no.
You can't have lots of guesses.
That was my best guess.
Okay. No, it wasn't that, sadly. It was the Connected Nations report.
I was right with the nations, wasn't I? But I restricted it to broadband. That was my fatal mistake.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, Ian. Eurofiber and who signed a frame agreement to accelerate fibre rollouts in Belgium, France, Germany, and the Netherlands in September of this year. Eurofiber and who?
I was going to say KPN, but I'm not sure what they've got to do with some of those other markets.
Do you get a clue? You've given me a clue.
I think it's an operator. Okay. It's a vendor. Is it Nokia?
It is. That's amazing. Well done. Definitely get that point.
Didn't even need a clue.
No,
I'm sorry for doubting you, Ian.
Maybe he should get an extra point for the fact that he didn't need a clue.
Yeah. 4-4.
4-4, I think.
Whatever. I'm still going to kick your ass.
Okay, here you go then, Scott. US-based telecoms operator contributed $6 million in a CSR initiative to drive digital literacy across the US.
Back to our philanthropy stuff.
Yeah.
A US operator chucked $6 million to help with just the online literacy, was it?
Digital literacy. Digital literacy.
Well, it's just a 1 in 3 punt, isn't it? Who seems more likely to do something like that? I'm going to go T-Mobile.
Oh. Do you want to steal it, Ian?
You got 1 and 2, mate.
AT&T.
Yes.
Yes.
God, now he's in the lead. You've stitched me up.
Don't worry, you can still win it back. Okay. Next one, Ian. The Advertising Standards Authority decided whose claim, we are the UK's fastest major broadband provider, is allowed but must provide better proof following a complaint from BT. That's quite easy.
But... is it 3?
No.
Right.
Can you say the question again?
Yeah. So the Advertising Standards Authority decided that the claim, we are the UK's fastest major broadband provider, is allowed, but they must provide better proof following a complaint from BT.
Pretty sure it's Virgin Media VMO2.
It is. Well done.
Yeah. All right. We're level pegging again, yeah? 5-5.
5-5, yeah. Okay. So cable.co.uk released an April report listing what it reckoned were the cheapest and most expensive places to buy broadband across the world. So there's some numbers. There are different questions to this. So I'll give one each to you. So what was the UK ranked?
In terms of like global from most expensive down?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we were up there. I'm going to go 10.
10. As in the
10th most expensive country in the world.
10th most expensive. Okay. Final answer?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
It's not.
No. So, I mean, what was I going to change it to? Another number?
It's 20th.
No, it's not. 12th, so kind of in between.
12th. All right. So the reason you were delaying is you were like, oh, Scott's so close.
Go on. Yeah. Hoping you might change it. Okay. So the next one, Ian, which country has the cheapest broadband? I don't know if this is the case anymore, actually. But anyway, at the time of the report, it was.
This is all countries in the world.
Yeah. Which country has the cheapest broadband?
In the whole world. What did
France.
you say, Ian? France.
No. Scott.
Cheapest. I don't know. I mean, is it a really poor country where everything's relatively cheap? Or is it somewhere where it's heavily subsidized? Maybe that's why you thought France.
Or possibly corrupt.
If I'm going to go skint countries, I've got loads to choose from, so I've got hope. So I'm going to go for somewhere that's really statist. Singapore.
No. Okay, neither of you were right. So it was Russia.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know if that's still the case now, though. What about the most expensive?
Or if indeed they've got any broadband now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Which one was the most expensive? I think that's to you now, Scott, isn't it?
Okay, this is still proper stuff. Most expensive broadband in the world, US.
No. Ian? I would never have done this.
God, somewhere really obscure like Senegal or something.
That's why I didn't go into obscure countries, because there's too many of them.
That's really close, actually. I feel like giving you the point. Burundi.
Oh, I should definitely get the point. It's basically the same place.
We'll give you that point.
Oh my God, this is a stitch up. Pierre guessed Kuwait, by the way.
Oh right, okay.
That's pretty good guess.
Good guess. Maybe Pierre needs to be on someone's team.
Well, you got that wrong, so you can be on his team. If you like the phone a friend, like that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing.
Yeah. Who would you have as your phone a friend?
Not Pierre, he said Q8.
You'd have Andrew back at base checking the stories.
Yeah.
I'm actually really bad at trivia. I've had people sort of get me on trivia teams assuming that I'd be some kind of asset, and I usually haven't been. It's different from knowing actual stuff.
Yeah. I love a quiz, though, a general knowledge quiz.
Clearly.
Yeah.
You know where the word trivia comes from?
No, that's a good piece of trivia.
It means three roads, because the Romans used to put
right, yes, of course,
where three roads met, because there's obviously a lot of travellers going past. It's the best place to post news, so they put bits of information up at sort of junctions where there were three roads. So trivia, yeah.
I see. That is a good bit of trivia. Nice one, Ian.
Yeah, I'm going to share that at the Christmas dinner table when everyone's opening their crackers and sharing their trivia. I'm going to stump them all with that one.
And they're going to go, yeah, thanks, Elena. That's great.
Well, then I'll say, well, just you wait. I'm going to get my Telecoms.com quiz out for you all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, do you know, I haven't thought of looking into our board game selection. I think we're going to have to do some of that next week, so I'm off next week. So it can get harder. I mean, my kids are in their sort of late teens now. Yeah. And I don't know, our kids' generation, I feel they don't have the attention span for board games. Do you guys second that, or are you better at it than I am?
Yeah. I think sorry, go on, Elena.
No, I was just going to say my kids are younger, so we're into things like Cluedo and Labyrinth and those things. So yeah,
I like the idea of Cluedo, actually. I might have to invest in a Cluedo set for Christmas.
What I might do is meet them halfway and get digital versions of those board games so we can play them on the Switch or something.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah. As if I've spent enough money already.
We're getting our two kids a Switch this Christmas.
Right. Yeah, my nephews are getting that, and I just dropped a bunch of cash on buying them games.
Oh, have you? So which ones would you recommend then?
I don't know. My nephew's, I believe, 7, if I haven't got that one wrong. 7 and 4. So yeah, it's hard to guess. I took their dad, my brother's advice quite strongly on that. But there's all the sort of fun little sport games. There's one game I think called Mario Party, which is like a sort of board game. You have like counters and you move around a board, but then you do digital larks depending on where you land. So Mario Party is one to consider.
Okay.
And that's one the whole family can do.
I'll let you know. We'll definitely be on the Switch, though, I imagine, on Christmas Day. So you know how it all goes. Yeah. Okay, should we get back to the quiz?
Indeed.
I can't remember whose turn it is.
I think it's Ian's. I think Oh no, he got the Burundi one. Well, you gave it to him because you're clearly on biased in his favour. So it's my turn.
Okay. In an attempt to reduce customer e-waste, who is shipping replaced and decommissioned kits to Cisco to be recycled? Which company?
Someone's shipping stuff to Cisco for Cisco to do the recycling.
Yeah.
God, I'm really disillusioned at my professional attitude that hardly any of your questions ring any bells at all. It's going to be, let me think. Will it be someone who makes devices or will it be an operator?
It's a big name in the UK.
You what?
It's a big name in the UK.
Big name in the UK, but they're getting Cisco involved. Big name in the UK. I don't know. I'll go with an operator. I'll go BTE.
Yeah, well done.
No way. That was a real punt.
The hell.
There you go.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going
to with that one, and then you
guys fill / ask Ian his question because I finished my beer.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn off my video so that you don't see me leaving my room to go and get another beer. I'll be back in a sec.
All right, no worries. Okay, I feel this could be an easy one, Ian, but Sellafield Limited runs the UK's largest nuclear site. Which telco group signed a £32 million deal to upgrade and run the Sellafield's entire network services this year? Which telco group? Obviously in the UK.
So it's one of the four. It's one of the 4 operators. Okay. Is it also BT?
It is.
Yeah.
That was cheeky. That was cheeky.
Great job. And Scott's going to be really annoyed when he comes back. So that's great.
I guess it had to be because they're the sort of incumbent. The deals always go to the incumbents, those sorts of things, don't they?
Yeah. I did think that was quite an easy one, but still, you're at a disadvantage not writing for the site. So only fair.
What happened?
I'm getting bonus points for every question I get right, as I'm totally unfamiliar with the.
Did you get this one right that I just missed?
Yeah, it's the same answer as your answer.
No way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it carried 10 points with it as well. I'm only
I don't think there's any pretense at fairness and due process in this quiz.
Well, let's see how you do on the next one. So, Scott, this one's yours. The US FBI called in which US operator to modernize and expand its network infrastructure, data, and voice solutions this year? FBI.
It's going to be one of the 2 historic big ones. I'm going to go AT&T.
Ian, do you want to steal?
What is it?
It is.
Here, Scott.
This is seeming like a stitch off. I'm sorry, Scott.
It's quite all right.
Okay, next one. Ian, this is to you. According to an April financial report, which Chinese telco ended last year with over 200 million customers using its 5G network?
China Mobile.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
I do. I'm sorry. This is seeming like a stitch up. It isn't meant to be.
No, I know it's not really. I just get some sort of solace from pretending that it is.
Okay, let's see if you get the next one. Funded by the Japanese Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications in conjunction with Rakuten, where will their ORAN Customer Experience Center be built in March of 2023?
It's funded by Japan. So
yeah, funded by Japan in conjunction with Rakuten, and they're building an ORAN Customer Experience Center.
And I can't just say Japan.
No, it's not Japan. I'll give you
right. Okay. Oh shit. Oh, maybe it's a UK thing, but if so, then I can't think where.
Oh no, you don't have to. You just have to say a country.
Okay, well, I'll go UK then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right. I thought I was meant to pick the town or something like that.
Oh no, that would be way too complicated. Not for this one.
Somewhere like Slough.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Somewhere where ORAN belongs.
Okay. Ian, which UK-based telco partnered with IBM to explore IBM's extensive quantum computing expertise? This telco also became one of the first members of the GSMA's post-quantum telco network task force. The UK
post-quantum. What's post-quantum? What comes after quantum?
The UK operator.
Yeah.
Tempted to say BT again, but can it be 3 BTs in a row?
That's the question, isn't it, mate?
They are quite into their quantum stuff, aren't they?
They love it.
They love a bit of quantum. Go on then, BT.
No. Scott, do you want to steal?
Right. With IBM. I don't know. I'm going to go Vodafone. They're like mucking around with technology as well.
Yeah, it was Vodafone.
Aha. What's the score now?
9 to Ian. 8 to Scott.
Oh.
Who's only one behind?
Yeah. Despite the flagrant corruption.
Don't be a sore loser.
I haven't lost yet.
No. Okay, next one. UK comms regulator Ofcom proposed requiring a new license for commercial drone operators following trials including drone delivered post by which mail service?
Who is it? Me or Ian?
It's you, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, because you got the BT one wrong, Ian.
Oh yeah.
Get back in your box, son. All right. So
I'll just answer when you get it wrong.
yeah, so it's going to be either Royal Mail or someone like UPS or FedEx. I'm going to go FedEx.
Ian, you can steal.
The Royal Mail.
It is.
No, swine. I should have gone for that. I talked myself out of the obvious answer.
I did. I should have said it was an easy one, then you would have got it. Okay. Aiming to accelerate its digital transformation and improve customer service, which UK-based telco announced a 5-year deal with Google Cloud, focusing on cloud infrastructure, machine learning, AI, and data analytics? UK-based telco.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Is that Vodafone?
No. Go on then, Scott.
Google Cloud.
Hmm.
I think I could try BT again.
It is. It's BT.
Oh.
Well done. I think it might be neck and neck now. Okay, so your turn, Scott.
Yeah.
A class action lawsuit claimed which social media giant abused its market dominance to impose unfair terms and conditions to exploit the data of 44 million UK users. Surely this is up your street.
It is up my street. I mean, Class action lawsuit abusing data of a bunch of users. I think it's got to be Facebook.
What would did they rebrand to?
All right, Meta.
Well done. Bravo.
I've got to get the answer on the card, Scott.
You have. So
All
well
right.
done. Right, this one is
In the lead.
I think this one's really easy, but I apologise in advance.
No
Scott,
pressure, Ian. You're behind and it's easy. You
I'm
don't want to
pretty
fuck
sure,
this one up.
even I got this one, so I'm pretty sure that you'll get this one. Which company bought Vonage this year?
Yeah, I think he can manage that.
Yeah, Ericsson.
Yes, well done. Okay, Nokia.
Well, you'll be thrilled to hear, Ian, that being on holiday, you missed writing up Ericsson's Capital Markets Day, which is what I wrote today.
Oh, yeah. I did see the email this morning.
Yeah. And they're basically going, yeah, we're going to turn into a platforms company, but don't hold your breath on anything going too well too soon.
Right.
And their shares are down about another 7 or 8%.
Oh, really?
Just on a Capital Markets Day. That doesn't normally happen, does it?
I saw they're sort of aiming for the lower end of the projection.
Yeah, maybe that was the thing. Maybe that was some fresh guidance.
But they also said, didn't they say something about the RAN market being totally flat for the next 3 years as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Have to be market share gains or something.
Yeah, actually, they focus on the RAM market, but then further down in the material, they said pretty much all the networking kit, all the wireless networking kit market it will go up by most 1% over the next few years.
Right.
So what they're basically saying is where we make most of our money, there's going to be no growth from the overall market there.
Yeah.
So yeah, their shares are down almost 40% this year.
What does that mean for your
Go
shares?
on, sorry, Elena.
You've got shares, haven't you? And
Yeah, I my 20 quid, it's getting down to closer to a tenner now, I think. I can't even buy a pickled herring with my Ericsson shares.
Oh, sad times.
And contrastingly, your client Nokia is still in the green as opposed to the red for me. So there we go.
Okay, next one, and it is a Nokia question. Nokia was chosen to spearhead 6G Anna, a nationally funded project designed to drive 6G research and standardization in which country?
I think more of these initiatives should have girls' names.
Is that me or Scott?
It's me. You just got Vonage, innit?
Oh, yeah. It's you, because I wouldn't have a clue.
I think 6G Anna, there used to be, around the time of Brexit, there used to be a young woman who dyed her hair blue and called herself Euro Girl. I'm picturing 6G as some kind of, some sort of glamorous young woman bigging up 6G. I think it's Germany.
It is Germany. Well done. Another point to you, Scott.
I think they should have picked a more German girl's name. What's a German girl's name?
Heidi?
Helga. 6G Helga. I'll have that.
Oh, dear. I'll pass it on to the team.
Yeah, please do. Give them my feedback.
I will. They'll be grateful. Can pass it on directly to Phil.
Yeah. He's probably listening to the pod now that he's been on it.
Oh, I hope so. He should be subscribed, shouldn't he?
He should. No, I'm not actually. I don't know. I'm sure he listened to it before as well.
Yeah, I think he did. Pretty sure he did. I think all the team do there. Okay, next one. According to a November survey entitled The Connected Home Report by trade association Tech UK and research firm GfK, what two factors are fueling an uptake in smart home devices? This is
Ian.
An uptake in smart home devices.
Yeah. There's a point for each one.
Rising broadband penetration. And that's not one of them, obviously.
Yeah, Elena, you don't play poker, do you? because I'd like to play you.
Your eyes going like this.
When I'm feeling a bit skint, I'd like to play Elena at poker.
More people using Spotify. Christ. I don't know.
No, neither. Scott, do you want to steal?
I'm inclined to say jokingly laziness. No, I think increased use of smart home devices. I think security might be one of the things, and I don't know, devices. Yeah, security and maybe just availability of things like Echo and all that. That's all I got.
Very good answers, but no. Apparently, it was the climate and the economy.
The climate and the economy.
Yeah.
Why does the climate make you use smart home devices?
I don't know.
Do we know?
I think it's is it just too cold to go to the shops? You go, oi, Echo, order me some beers in. I don't want to go down the pub. It's freezing outside.
Or if it's a climate, do you think people maybe think it's somehow more eco-friendly to shout at a smart speaker rather than go and drive down to Sainsbury's?
Someone to drive to you instead.
Yeah, well, quite.
I think it's to do with the uptake of devices like smart thermostats and
yeah,
lighting and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by them. I mean, I don't think I've got one. I think I've got a smart meter. But you hear these ads saying, this smart thermostat and all that sort of thing. I'm not sure what they can do. Like right now, I'm having to use a lot of heating. I don't know about you, Elena. I was like, took it down to the wire. I think I got to about December before I had it on for more than just a little burst in the morning. But this week, I've just had to go sod it. I'm going to just blow the cash. There's no...
Yeah, it's too cold. It gets too cold if you just have it on in the morning.
Yeah. By lunchtime, you're back to square one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was Ian's, wasn't it? So it's me now.
That was Ian. Right. So, aiming to evolve the smart home security market, which UK operator partnered with home security firm Verisure and security firm Norton to introduce a monitored home alarm package?
What sort of company was I'm able to answer?
It's a UK operator, and it partnered with a home security firm and the cybersecurity firm Norton.
I'm going to go to just because we haven't guessed them for a bit.
Are you going with?
O2.
O2. No. Ian.
BT.
EE.
Yeah, that counts. I can allow that.
Okay.
A lot of answers to your questions are BT. If I guessed BT to every question you asked, I'd probably be doing all right.
You cover BT a lot on your website.
I guess so. Well, it is British Telecom, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. Okay, this one's hard, I think, but let's see. Which cruise ship operator claims it was the first to use Elon Musk's Starlink internet service?
I can only think of one. Royal Caribbean.
Yes. Oh,
no way.
That is really quite impressive.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen?
The only one he can think of is the one that used Elon Musk. Are they the only cruise ship service in the world?
No, there are others. That's the only one that sprung to mind. Can you think of any others?
No. Can't think of any.
I mean, I've never been on a cruise. Has anyone been on a cruise?
No, but didn't P&O had that scandal this year, didn't it? Where it sacked all its staff.
Yeah, but they're not a cruise ship. They're like a ferry. Or do they do cruises as well?
And they do cruises, I think. Yeah, P&O do cruises.
Don't know why. Pierre's just written in Virgin. Are you accusing me of something, Pierre?
I think you can go on an EasyJet cruise.
Oh, Virgin Cruises. Apparently there's a Virgin Cruise thing. There we go.
Looks like he's written Virgin Viruses.
I know. I don't get those cruises. Sometimes you see those. So obviously the cruise ship industry had a nightmare during all the pandemic, but you see some of these modern day cruises and they're like 20 stories high. And personally, being moderately misanthropic as I am, the thought of being crammed in with thousands of people in one of these massive floating hotels for days on end. It just horrifies me. Get back to me in about 20 years when I'm retired and doing cliched retired things.
Yeah.
But right now, I just think it's appalling. Does it appeal to either of you two, cruises?
It doesn't, but my parents do them. And I think my dad was never a fan. He was never up for it. And then my mum sort of badgered him into going on one year, and they've been on a few now. But
No,
can't
get enough of them.
Yeah, they really like it, but it doesn't appeal to me either. I'd sort of find the whole idea of, yeah, like you say, being having that many people around all the time, and God.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I spoke to some friends who went on one a few months ago, and they were similarly reluctant, but they had to go because one of them had basically a broken ankle, so couldn't do sort of kind of usual
normal
travel
stuff.
Yeah, and they actually said it was amazing. The boat is so huge that there's never a shortage of things to do, and hundreds of different activities put on each day, loads of restaurants to choose from, and then you dock in certain places that you can kind of explore.
Go and mill about there.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the underlying concept. Yeah, I love the thought of doing a Caribbean cruise and just going to like Bahamas one day and whatever, Jamaica the next day. I'd just rather have the whole cruise ship to myself.
Yeah, I would. I don't think that's an option.
No, not unless you're very rich.
Yeah. I quite like the idea of going to the Arctic and seeing the Arctic. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, but that's not your classic cruise. That's more adventurous stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Whose turn is it? How are we doing in terms of your numbers of questions?
We've got probably about 8 more to go.
Okay, good. I was just making sure that we aren't going to suddenly run out of time.
No, we'll be fine, I think. Okay, I think it's Ian's go, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, because I fluked that Royal Caribbean one.
Yeah. So, as July temperatures hit 40 degrees in the UK this summer, which 2 public cloud services admitted to data center outages due to cooling infrastructure issues?
Oh, that's right up your street, Ian.
Well, it is, but I'll probably get them wrong. Microsoft Azure and AWS.
Oh, no, go on then. Scott,
Did he not get it right?
Did I get one of them right?
No, sorry.
Really?
I'd only have chosen between 3 anyway.
Yeah, I honestly think there's only 3 of them anyway, but I suppose there are smaller ones.
Say the question again, Elena.
As July temperatures hit 40 degrees in the UK this summer, which 2 public cloud services admitted to data center outages due to cooling infrastructure issues?
And it's not either of AWS or Azure or Microsoft.
No.
So I guess that leaves Google Cloud and one other.
Got Google Cloud.
It's not Google Cloud.
No, it is. That you've got one.
Right, yeah. So we could get into the long tail. Who else does it? Oracle.
Yes.
Fluky bastard.
Get back.
You just called me a fluky bastard, Ian.
Yeah.
All right, next one. I thought this was quite interesting. See what you think. In an April report from Bespoke Software Solutions, I think this one's to Scott, right?
Yeah.
Which app do Brits want to delete the most from their phones?
So, I mean, I think, things like Twitter, but then that requires, you want to go for something that most people have in the first place. And a lot of people don't bother with Twitter. They want to delete the most. I'm going to go with, is it going to be, am I going to pick social media? If so, yeah. All right, I will. I'll go Facebook.
No. Ian, you can steal. Go on.
Twitter.
No, it was Snapchat.
Oh, so we were in the right area.
Yeah, you were definitely in the right area. I thought it was interesting because, that's what they love, isn't it? Supposedly. Snapchat?
One of them, I think.
I think Snapchat's going off the boil. I think young people like TikTok, don't they?
Oh, do they more than Snapchat?
Yeah, TikTok's quite popular, but everyone's shitting themselves because it's owned by a Chinese company.
My son just piped up and said, "No, it's dying."
What is?
Snap?
TikTok.
Oh, TikTok.
Oh, TikTok's dying.
Yeah.
So what's hot?
What's hot then, Alex?
Pop.
Now, what's popular now on the social media front?
TikTok's still popular, but it's not as popular as it used to be.
Okay. And what
Love
else? Does he like Snapchat?
You like Snapchat?
I haven't got it yet.
He hasn't got Snapchat. He doesn't really use that much social media, but he's aware of TikTok, obviously.
Indeed. Well, try and keep it that way.
Yeah.
Snap Talk.
Pierre says Snap Talk.
I like that one.
Okay.
By the way, as a quick tangent, I'm really enjoying all the fun going on with Twitter at the moment. And a few guys have been tracking it, but Elon Musk ended up buying it.
Yeah.
And now he's just doing pretty much what you expect Elon Musk to do, which is just being just random and sort of megalomaniacal. He's going around kicking people off. Everyone's moaning. If you look on like Tech Meme, which is for people who don't know, is like an aggregator of tech news that's quite US focused. Yeah, he's been kicking off journalists, principally journalists of the sort of establishment and in the left, in the States, typically more left leaning. CNN, New York Times, that sort of thing. He's been kicking them off and they're all freaking out. And I'm just getting a lot of schadenfreude because a lot of those journalists are the ones that were actively lobbying for censorship when they thought that they could control it. I don't necessarily agree. I don't think Musk's being consistent. I think he's leaving himself open to all sorts of accusations of being sort of capricious and hypocritical. But I'm getting a lot of schadenfreude from all these media censors getting kicked off and then freaking out about freedom of speech all of a sudden.
Whatever you think of this, whatever your position is on it, it's quite entertaining to watch, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's just
it's ridiculous.
he's like, in some ways, he's like the Trump of tech.
Yeah.
Except that he hasn't got that sort of Trumpy, obnoxious delivery.
Yeah.
But he is this absolute sort of source of chaos and disruption and unpredictability, which Trump was in the political space. So it makes for an entertaining spectacle, no doubt. How it's all going to end up, I don't know. If I was one of the co-investors in Twitter, I'd be shitting myself a bit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you pay for a blue tick?
Personally, I wouldn't, but then I think the only people who probably would pay for it are people who have a sort of professional interest in it. I mean, I don't really actively use Twitter at all, partly because I don't trust myself to not say something cancelable.
Right, yeah.
And, it's one thing being on this pod and I'll swear a little bit and come up with the odd edgy joke. But in the context of a podcast, I think, the nuance can be seen over 1 or 2 hour podcast. That's why people like Joe Rogan tend to survive cancellation things. But Twitter is just sending a very short message out for public consumption that can easily be misunderstood or used maliciously against you. I just don't think it's worth it. But then people, journalists who are less niche than we are, of course they'd pay for it. What's £8 a month to get that kind of enhanced distribution and all that sort of thing? I would have thought it'd be a no-brainer. What about you from a PR side? Do you think it's worth it?
Well, no, not really, because it's not credible, is it? If you pay for a blue tick, that was the value of it, that it was independently given or supposedly independently given to people.
Right,
and
I see.
There's no kind of credibility behind it, and therefore, when you followed that person, you knew they had some kind of kudos to be able to, and to make following them relevant.
Yeah.
But if everybody's
legitimacy.
I don't think that's
I don't know if there's some vetting. I don't know if it's anyone who pays for it can get it, or they still have to work out that you're not a bot or whatever.
Yeah, they must work out that you're not a bot. But other than that, I think, anyone can pay for.
But I mean, the other fun thing that's been coming out, so he's been leaking all this stuff. Now that he's got Twitter, he's just gone into their email servers and he's just spamming out internal communication to independent reporters like Matt Taibbi and Barry Weiss. And you know, and it's quite clear that their moderation, for want of a better word, was completely unsystematic.
Yeah.
It's basically just some people going, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Ban it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no due process. There was no hard and fast rules. And then you get the problem that, you know, a lot of Silicon Valley tends to politically lean towards Democrats. You know, I'm not picking a team, Republican versus Democrat. I don't have a vote in the States. But if you have, you know, what is basically the digital public square, and it's being run by people who make up the moderation rules on the fly, and they all have a provable bias in one political direction, it's obviously incredibly damaging for political discussion. And the crowning one, sorry, I'll get off this high horse in a sec. The crowning one was in late 2020, when one of the major newspapers in the States called New York Post got hold of some information that Joe Biden's son, who had sort of substance abuse problems and that sort of thing, apparently once left his laptop in a computer repair shop and then just got so off his tits that he forgot it was there. And then the guy, you know, I think, you know, the repair people are entitled to just claim it if you don't ask for it back within a certain amount of time. And he ended up leaking it it ended up in the hands of the New York Post, the information on it. And some of it looked quite damaging to Joe Biden. And this was just before the US general election. And all of the social media led by Twitter basically all colluded to limit people's ability to read this story as much as possible, which to me feels like direct election interference. And that's not to say I wish Trump had won, because I think he's a nutter. But you can't have people just dicking about with elections. It's not a democracy anymore if you can let them do that. Absolutely. So anyway, that's my soapbox on that one.
Well, the whole Twitter story is certainly going to be one that's going to roll into 2023, isn't it?
Yeah. And as we can all agree, at the very least, it's entertaining.
It is very entertaining. I mean, it's arguably one of the biggest tech story of 2022, or do you think there are bigger stories?
I mean, it depends how you look at it. I think in terms of where tech intersects with culture, it's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of pure tech stories, there'll be M&A or regulatory stuff or whatever that's bigger. But that's the thing, that tech now is the Venn diagram overlap between tech and culture is quite big. And I think it was I've spoken about this on the pod before, it was 2016 that really brought that on to everyone's attention, that the twin electoral shocks of Brexit and Trump. Yeah. Everyone was suddenly going, oh, fucking hell, this is social media's fault. And politicians have been sniffing around social media ever since. And I don't know what the answer is, other than for there to be hard and fast rules. I just don't think, I said it in the last pod with Phil, because I brought this up as one of my Scott Baceno TM self-indulgent rants at the end. And he went, what's the answer? And I went, I think the answer is that they should all be banned from acting against anyone who doesn't behave illegally. So they should be constrained by national law, not by their own random ad hoc whims. So there we are.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, Scott has spoken.
Has spoken. Okay, back on the social media platform.
I think this is Ian, because is that right? No.
No, I think it is Ian.
Yeah, right. It's because I got Facebook wrong and he got Twitter wrong, and it was Snapchat. So it's Ian, yeah. So
ostracized rapper Kanye West, now known as Ye. Is it Ye?
Ye, I think you pronounce it. Ye, as in Kanye.
Oh yeah, Kanye. Okay, yeah. Kanye, Ye, decided to buy which infamous social media platform this year?
Is it Parler?
It is. Well done.
I didn't know that because of Scott. Thanks, Scott.
I've taught you well. And by the way, last I heard, when Ye started coming out with some really crazy shit that he'd been coming out recently, Parler was going, do you know what? You can't buy us. You're too mental.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Scott, your turn. In an attempt focused on sustainability, the Internal Market and Consumer Protection Committee voted to enforce what around small and medium-sized electronics?
Blimey.
I think this is actually a really big news story of last year, but maybe the question isn't phrased that well.
Right.
The EU has enforced what around small devices?
Oh, right. Yeah, it'll be some kind of like recycling directive or something like that, but I can't remember the name of it.
You're going to kick yourself. Ian, what about you?
Don't know.
It's the common standard charger type.
Oh, the USB-C thing.
Right.
You're right. I was thrown off by thinking about recycling and tree hugging stuff. One thing I'll say about USB-C, the last 2 phones I've had have been Pixels, and I buy them because they're quite a sort of clean build. You know, you haven't got extra Samsung bloatware or whatever on the top of it because it's the Google own brand. But the USB-C dock in it always gets knackered, so that when I stick the lead in, it doesn't work anymore. I have to really sort of shove it in. I don't know if that's just unique to Google or whether people are finding that with USB-C on the whole. Write in, listeners.
Can I give you a tip?
Yeah.
This apparently happens a lot with men's devices because you put the
in your pocket,
and then it gathers dust
Fluff.
and rubbish, and it all gets into the little charging port. And so actually, if you just try and clean that out, you know, blow into it or take it into
get rid of all the old sweet wrappers and bits of chewing gum, Scott.
But do you know what I do? Look, I don't know if you can see it. This is a bit of someone's business card.
Oh,
and
right.
I'm not going to show who it is because they're in my space and they'll be offended. Their business card looks like I'm using it for roaches and joints.
Or your echo on the edge of it.
Yeah, exactly. Their business card looks like I'm using it to make roaches for joints. But actually what I'm doing is tearing bits of it to create little bits of cardboard. So Elena, I'm actually ahead of you on that. And then I sort of muck about in here, but it's not helping that much.
You know what? Take it to Ice Mash and they have a special contraption that will get the dust out.
Ice Mash.
That's the company, isn't it? Ice Mash, where you...
It's not filling me with confidence, that company name, if I'm honest.
Is it called Ice Mash? I'm now doubting it. They repair phone screens and they're in all sort of major railway.
They'll whack it with a hammer a couple of times and then it'll work.
Or they'll just hit me and then I won't care about my phone anymore. All right, I might give that a go, Elena, because the roach method isn't paying off at the moment.
Okay, well, let me know how you get on. Okay, next one.
This is for Ian, I think.
It's Ian.
What are the scores, Elena?
Oh, hang on. We've only got 2 questions left. Can we leave?
Right. Well, there we are. Let's introduce some jeopardy and tension into this.
Do you want me to tell the scores, or shall I just leave it?
No, tell us. I want to know if we're both still in with a shout of winning.
All right, bear with me then. Okay, Ian's on 13. Scott is on 14.
Oh.
Okay.
It's Ian's code. You better get this one, son.
Telcos in what country will soon be subject to stricter rules governing network outages and hacking incidents after a package of revisions to the Ordinance on Telecommunications Services was approved by the government? Which country?
That's not a nice one, is it?
No.
God. Is it in Europe?
It is in Europe.
Italy.
No. Scott.
Who has an ordinance? Ordinance. I'm going to go Germany again.
No.
Oh.
Excellent. Okay, so
you're still in with a shout, Ian. That would have killed you if I got that one right. Who was it, Elena?
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Right.
Oh, they love laws, don't they? They love rules.
Okay, so this is the last question. And it's from this week. So, according to your annual industry report.
Oh, shit.
Annual industry report you published this week, the industry is predominantly happy with telecoms business performance in 2022. What percentage of respondents voted it an excellent or a good year?
I'm going to go 65.
Shall we give it to Ian? That's wrong. See if you can get
give it to Ian, because he's got to get this, and then it'll be if he gets this, then it's a draw, isn't it? It's a tie.
Yeah, it is.
45.
No, it was 63%.
63. If Ian had guessed 63, you would have given it to him as well.
Well, of course I would have given it to him. That was the answer.
No, I mean, if 65, because I was only 2 off.
Oh yeah, you would.
Oh, God.
Okay, so
Anyway, I won anyway. Ha ha.
But well done as well, Ian. And
That was good. It was a good tight contest.
as a prize, you're both going to get a package of secret deliveries being sent by a elf and Father Christmas next week from Liberty HQ.
Oh, is Liberty sending us a bribe of the week?
You are being sent a bribe of the week, but not so much a bribe, but more a prize of the week.
No, I know. You know, when I say bribe, it's all tongue in cheek.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
that's very kind of you, Elena, and very kind of you, Liberty, very kind of you, Dee,
Yes.
and etc. Cool. Well, that was brilliant. Thanks a lot for that. Those are really. I'm really grateful for the work you put into researching those questions.
Oh, no problem. It was all your hard work, and Nick and Mary's and
Andrew.
your teams, Andrew's.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people, I think, actually stole a couple of stories in there. So yeah, well done to them and well done to you guys. Yeah, good job.
Cool. Okay. So we might make it a regular thing, Elena, if you fancy it.
That would be really fun. And I will bring my bag of props next time, and the prizes in real life, and my buzzers.
Yeah.
University
Well,
Challenge.
that's assuming the trains aren't still striking in a year's time.
No. Well, what predictions do you have for next year then?
Well, actually, Andrew's working on a great big predictions piece. I think, like boringly enough, the big question is how fucked is the global economy going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the inflationary pressures we created by locking everyone in their houses and then borrowing money to pay them not to work are gonna make their way through for quite a long time. And the UK politics and economy just seems a complete car crash. I think we're looking for the Yanks to lead us out of it. Really, I think the UK economy is going to be looking a bit moody for a while. It'll be US. I mean, I don't know about China at the moment because they're still doing things like zero COVID and they're still locking down a lot.
I think they moved away from it a bit now.
Yeah, when people started freaking out, it shows that you can. I mean, I know a lot of people will have been locked up and put in room 101, but it shows that even in China, public protest seems to have some kind of effect.
Yeah,
that's a positive thing from this year, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit. But I think, US, we're looking for inflation to go down in the US, for sort of companies to make a bit more money. But I just think on the whole, next year it's going to be a bit of a challenge in terms of broader economics. In terms of telecoms, I mean, we're still trying to work out what the point of 5G is, aren't we?
Yeah. Those like telecom prediction stories, they always seem to be the same, don't they? No matter what the year is. You can spin out the same one again and again, at least for 5 years, and then you've probably got to move on to a new G or something. But
yeah. Do you know what my favorite one? If anyone ever says to me the only constant is change, then I have to slap them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll launch myself at them if someone says that within earshot of me.
Yeah. I do the same thing if somebody says paradigm shift.
Right. Oh God, I think I've been guilty of that. It's good thing we're remote. What about you, Lena? What are you looking forward to next year?
I'm looking forward to Mobile World Congress. I didn't go last year, so I'm hoping to go this year.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll definitely be there. So hopefully we'll get to hang out.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
Maybe we'll get you when we normally try and do a pod there. We normally get a few people there. So keep in touch on that.
Yeah.
If you fancy it.
And the drinks at the Glacial.
Glaciar, yeah. Well, except last year, Glaciar isn't what it once was.
Oh, in terms of what the bar has changed, or
Yeah, I think the lockdown kind of killed it. So for listeners, this is a little, I suppose, I don't know if it's a secret, but I think it was CC Group. I think it was Rich and Paul who started this. But it's basically like UK flax and hacks, telecoms flax and hacks, flax being a slang word for PR people, and hacks obviously being journalists. On the Wednesday night, we end up from about 10 onwards at this nice bar just off La Rambla called Glaciar. And that's always been a real highlight. But we went last year, and the main inside bit was just shut down. We had to just sit outside in the plaza. It wasn't the same.
oh,
I
maybe
think we
the-
ended up at a different bar, didn't we, after a while? Because there's the corner one that you can go upstairs.
Yeah, like cocktail bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was about the only vague Spanish speaker among all of us. So I ended up having to do quite a lot of grown-up work, making it all happen.
Yeah. I still enjoyed it. I mean, it was still on Plaza Real, and it's quite a nice place to hang out in the evening. But yeah, it's a shame that bar sort of. It was almost like it had shifted location. Actually, I remember the venue had moved down 2 doors. Weirdly, still
Well,
exists.
quite all the tables that are outside were down, but obviously the inside bit, which is a really nice corner bar. I always thought it was quite an attractive bar as well. Yeah, that was all shut down. I mean, the lockdown just. You can imagine, loads of businesses, especially small businesses that were just about struggling through. That would have just killed them off, won't it?
Yeah.
Of course. We need
But
a
we still
record.
managed.
Yeah. Need to go
What
and
were you
find.
gonna say, Elena?
We need a recce to go and find a new bar.
Yeah, well, this is your chance to steal Rich and Paul's thunder and make it a Liberty thing more than the CC Group thing.
Oh, would they ever forgive me?
So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that as well. It's a good annual jamboree.
Yeah. I just out of interest, how many predictions pieces do you get in your inboxes?
Well, I asked Andrew to sort of collate them, and I must have forwarded him 20 emails by now.
Wow. Okay.
But I don't know. It's tough. Some of them seem quite generic, and some of them are quite niche. There'll be one from a PR agency saying, our client who is in the widget business has the following, predictions about the widget business, and then you just got to wonder whether you care.
Yeah.
But I think it's rude not to. I mean, for us, like we shut down. I'm off next week because I'm using up my holiday. So Andrew's running the ship right until the 23rd when you're working, but then we're not going until the new year. So it's good to have something like that that's prominent on the site for the week or two that we're not writing any news.
Yeah. So some of them can be interesting. I mean, certainly there's a lot of thought, I think, that goes into lots of them.
Yeah. Have you had to rustle a few together?
We have, and we got one response from one journalist. I won't say who it was. But their response was just brilliant. They basically came back and said, Telecoms predictions are a waste of time. You didn't predict the Ukraine war.
Well, sorry.
You didn't predict the Queen dying. You didn't predict, and then rattled off sort of 5 or 6 things.
Was this tongue in cheek?
No, yeah, it was tongue in cheek.
Oh, right. I was about to say. Otherwise, what a nutter.
Yeah, but a message to us: don't tell me predictions.
I see. Okay, so they were being sort of deliberately facetious.
Yeah, they were being
right.
All in good faith, I think, but just quite.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, I almost believed because some journalists can be right prima donnas. I'm sure you, least of all, wouldn't name any of them, but and nor will I. Yeah. But I know from chatting to PR buddies over the years, I hear some war stories. Hopefully, I'm not one of them. I'm sitting here being all smug and supercilious, going, "Oh, those horrible prima donna journalists." For all I know, I'm on that list.
No, you're definitely not. No, don't worry about that. But even if you were, it's kind of quite funny and quite entertaining. So we never take anything like that to heart.
No. Cool. Well, look, I think we've done like nearly sort of hour and 3/4 or something like that. Doesn't it fly by?
It really does, doesn't it? Gosh.
Getting dark now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'll wrap it up. I've got a thing in 15 minutes anyway. And just thanks again, Elena. That was great. Again, sorry not to see you in person, but, hopefully we'll make up for it, if not before Mobile World Congress.
Definitely.
And we'll find somewhere to get pissed on Wednesday night. Don't you worry.
No, for sure. It's in my diary already.
And then, I'll just say to our audience, hope you've enjoyed this year. I think I'm pleased we did this remotely rather than not at all, because I was sort of managing expectations last week. But yeah, we should be back in person, I imagine. I can't think of any reason, Ian, why we wouldn't do one on the first week of January on the 6th.
There's a train strike then.
Unless there's a train strike. I'm not sure. I've got a feeling I'm going to try at least a couple of weeks of dry January, so there might not be quite the same.
I think there is a train strike on the 6th.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe we'll do another Zoom one like this.
So, we could either do a Zoom one or we could do it on the Thursday, because I don't think there's a train strike on the 5th.
All right, we'll see. Or we'll do it like this. Pierre, are you on holiday into the new year?
Yeah, I come back on the 2nd, I think.
Okay, so we're all there for that week. All right, well, we'll probably get something together that week anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, thanks everyone, to all our audience. Have a good Christmas and New Year, and we'll see you then.
Happy Christmas.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.